It's time for Maggie and the Moms. Sponsored by Tampa General Hospital.
It's in candy, breakfast foods, snacks, so many of our kids' favorite foods, and now the FDA has banned red dye number 3. So why did it take them so long? And what else do we have to worry about? We're talking about that and a whole lot more today as we tackle kids' health here on Maggie and the Moms. And we welcome our panel of guests, Jennifer Boyd. She is a physician assistant. She founded House Calls for Kids. It's a concierge practice, so you come to our house. I like that.
Yes. That's right.
I like that. To have a doctor that you can call and shows up. It's like the old way it used to be.
It's just so much
And it's more
better.
personalized care, I feel like, that way.
Definitely.
We love that. Steffany Rodriguez-Neely is passionate about health in her profession and at home. She's a mother of 5, and she founded the Tampa Bay Moms Group, which, congratulations, the Healthy Family Fair, back for year number
11.
11.
Yes.
Focused on health and making sure that parents know what they need to know regarding their children's health and making sure that kids have access.
We're helping eliminate excuses. We're going to do screenings right there. We've got people to direct you with whatever your medical needs might be. So, yeah.
If anybody's listening today,
Awesome.
tell us the details, the date and the place.
It is this Sunday, January 26th at Waterworks Park in downtown Tampa from 11 to 3. Like I said, we've got tons of resources, free carnival games. It's almost like a field day. We've got hula hoop contests and all sorts of fun things going on all day. Plus, of course, like a big focus on health for everyone in the family, all ages, all abilities, and pets. We've got a lot of really cool pet exhibitors coming out.
Thank you for that. Deanna Moore at the helm today, as always. Hola.
Hola, I'm like at the ones and twos
Yeah.
DJing.
Are you getting the hang of that? Is that fun?
It is fun.
It is fun?
I thoroughly enjoy doing this with
Yeah.
you, Maggie. So
Me
don't
too.
ever let me complain because it's fun.
We
Thank you,
have
JB
fun.
Buno,
Thank you,
wherever
JB
he may
Buno.
be.
He's listening. Can you do the fun thing that we learned that one time? Listen to this, ladies.
Oh,
See if
I
she
don't know if I have
remembers.
the right one.
All right. Well, if I like that one. If they had one that was not celebratory, I would play that for the FDA because I'm sorry. Thank you for banning red dye 3,
Yes.
but what took you so long? Because you have known that this is bad and it has been banned in cosmetics. I don't like it, but now we know, so we can't just ignore it.
No, and there's studies as early as 1990 where we found this link to thyroid cancer in animals. So
Excuse me.
But we know
yes,
what it's been about the entire time.
Money.
Money.
it is.
God, that's wrong.
Yeah.
I am so mad. Parents everywhere are rightly infuriated. But you know what? We have to take matters into our own hands. That's what we have to do as parents. So, number 1, why is red dye number 3 so bad besides?
The cancer risk. Well, it also has been linked to migraines, headaches in kids, hyperactivity, and some people are just allergic to it also, so they can have GI issues or skin issues from it too.
And it's everywhere. It's in Jelly Belly candies. It's in toaster pastries, strawberry flavored milk, maraschino cherries,
Cough syrup,
cough
medications.
syrup. You said Doritos.
Doritos, most fruit snacks.
You discovered that it was bad because
My son's therapist, when we were trying to navigate some of the issues we were having, that was one of the first things they said is let's try to adjust some of his diet and remove all the red food dyes. And it's a process. It's not easy to just go, okay, I'm all natural dye free, because it's in everything. And where you don't have red, whatever number, you might have yellow. And now you're
Right.
Googling to see as well, is yellow that bad? And so it's a process, and I'm still not great at it, but there is a noticeable difference when we eliminate the artificial colorings and things from my son's diet. His behavior is noticeably different.
it's logical, but sometimes we choose the easy. You know, we want to buy the prepackaged
And
food.
I do sometimes too, because when we're in the gas station, he's like had a good day, and he's like, "Mom, can I just get a Slurpee?" And Slurpees are horrible for you. I found
I
out there's things in
know,
Slurpees
they
that I
are.
didn't even realize were so bad. Like, do not let your kids have Slurpees until they're at least like 6 or 7.
Really?
Yes. But I give in. I'm like, well, you had a good day and go ahead. And I know it's
Right.
not good for him, but sometimes too, I battle with it's not good, but you got to live and you got to have little
Right.
pleasures. So
Right.
it's hard.
I know, but you know what? I feel like why do we do this? Why do we reward? And my mom did it and I do it. Why do we reward with food? You know what? You deserve a treat today. Go have that Slurpee.
God, and we do it as adults too. It's like, I had a good day. I
I'm
deserve
gonna-
this.
yeah.
Give me that extra
I know.
brownie.
I'm going off topic. So
That's true. Don't we always?
Valid question. I mean,
But it is because that's where those treats come in, because the treats are the indulgences. They're the stuff that we know isn't healthy, but we want anyway. So that's what we're giving our kids and ourselves when we feel we've earned it somehow.
yeah. And then you're not making it like a part of your normal, regular, every
treat.
single day. So I can kind
Yeah.
of see that too.
And I kind of overcorrected the other way when my kids were little because I love, and present tense, McDonald's. I'm sorry.
Ew.
I know. It's wrong. I know.
Can I ask what about it? Like, I mean,
The
you cannot
taste
can tell
of
me
the
the taste. It's-
cheeseburgers, the big fat straws.
And you've seen the
the
videos.
fries.
French
I don't
fries.
want you to tell me anything.
The lady that has the 15-year-old cheeseburger preserved,
I
and
don't
she
want-
unwraps it.
I
Look it up.
don't
I'm going
want
to send
you
it
to
to
tell
you.
No,
me.
it's from the 80s.
Yeah, is it?
I'm
Oh, it is from
gonna
the
break
80s.
it and
Okay.
say, do not. Maggie's gonna do what she's got. She loves McDonald's.
She loves
If it
McDonald's.
doesn't deteriorate
I don't
in the
eat
backseat of your car,
McDonald's
think what it's
because
doing to your GI.
I don't want to, be unhealthy, but I do love it. But when we, had kids,
Isn't that their
my
slogan?
husband and I are like,
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
stop. My husband and I are like, we're not going to give the kids fast food. So we did it. And they were old. Like Daniela was already a teenager and we were on a road trip and we had to stop and get food in a hurry. And Mike's like, we're going to go there.
And you stuck with it
Wendy's.
that
no,
long.
no. Yeah. And you know what she goes? She started to cry. No, I can't eat that. Like I messed them up.
That's good.
So I think there are extreme. She was crying. We're like, it's okay. You know what? You need to have Wendy's once in your life. It's okay. It's not going to kill you. And then
Everything in moderation.
But wait,
everything in
Mom,
moderation.
You've been saying all
Yeah.
these years.
Okay. But when we can,
Yeah.
what should we be avoiding that maybe our friends at the FDA, Jennifer, have not told us yet are not the best?
Oh my goodness, you guys. It should be all of the dyes. This is just one, and it is a stepping stone in what we hope will be a movement to kind of eliminate.
But
these
they've got
because
years to make it effective.
Years. But, these things do take time.
So
Getting
by the
stuff
time
off the
they-
shelves, repackaging, all these things will take time.
And by the time they make that
Talking
effective,
to your mic, Jennifer.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay.
by the time they make that effective, then maybe they'll finally go, oh yeah, let's eliminate this next one. It's like, so like you
Right.
said, we have to do it ourselves.
Yeah, you can't rely on them to pull these things out for us. So we need to be looking at the ingredient list, avoiding artificial colors, which that's what it could be called, artificial colors, not necessarily list the dye. It could just say that and
Okay.
not tell you what's in there. So if you know your kid has a sensitivity to something in particular, you may still want to avoid it, even if it doesn't make it blatantly obvious that that's in there. And also the flavors. Like, we don't need things to be artificially flavored. And what's interesting about this whole concept is we're trying to make things more palatable and appealing to children. That's why we're adding these food colorings that don't exist in the
But
world.
if you start them off with these foods in their natural state,
Exactly.
they're fine with them.
That's just-
Exactly.
that's the color that it is. I completely agree. So we've gone really far away with it. And I think it really kicked up in the 80s and in the 90s when they were starting to come out with all these crazy colored things. So it's just, we're stepping it back, Stick
I
with-
like that.
Well, I said like it's all over TikTok and Instagram where they'll show a pack of Oreos from Europe and a pack of Oreos from the US, and just the ingredient list,
just-
even on junk food, is just so crazy because the US ingredients is filled with things you can't pronounce.
Mm-hmm.
And the European versions have like flour, sugar, and everything's identifiable, and it's this short. in
The other day,
comparison.
my son, he was begging at the grocery store for me to get Takis.
Yeah.
I told you guys
Yeah.
this story. And I finally caved. I'm like, fine, you can get the Takis. And so he's eating them in front of me, and they just look so nasty. I said, let me see that pack. So I look at the ingredient list, and yes, it's really long. I can't pronounce anything. And I said, this is garbage. And my husband was there, and he said, do me a favor, pull out the bag of tortilla chips from the pantry and read the ingredients. It was 3 ingredients. It was corn, oil, and salt.
Yep.
I know.
And come on,
sad.
tortilla chips are just as good, better, obviously.
Not as
than
trendy.
Takis, not
I
as
know.
trendy.
Well, they find their
It's a
ways
marketing
to
machine.
market.
And that is-
Exactly. It's all marketing.
My daughter has a Taki sweatshirt, Taki
There's a
socks. Like, it's a
song.
personality.
There's
There's
trait
Cheetos
at this
and
yes.
hot
point.
Takis and something. Yeah,
seriously.
it's a marketing machine. They
We
know
used to
what they're
get so
doing.
many kids
How
in the
bad are
ER
those
with
spicy-
stomach aches
That's
from
what I was gonna
eating
ask.
bags of Takis.
Yeah, that's what just snap on
Yes.
Takis and it's just eating their insides.
yeah.
My
Oh
daughter
my
gets her
goodness.
nails done, and they'll get like a pink tint around it from all the Takis. And I'm like, when it's turning your acrylic pink,
You know
it's,
it's
a
not good for your
problem.
insides.
Like,
I
stop.
know.
Okay,
Just
so
read
we're
labels.
talking about nutrition, and so as we raise our kids, what kinds of foods do we want to introduce from the get-go?
You know, what's interesting is we tend to, if we want to go from the get-go, like first solids get-go, we tend to introduce these things that are like sweet potatoes or
And I'm against
oatmeal or things like that, which there's no, honestly, real restriction that says you can't give your kid strawberries or a little bit of watermelon, or you can even do
give them,
fish or
give them the
things.
more bland stuff, because once they get that little sweet tooth, even as babies, then they want the applesauce or the sweet potatoes. Well, now they don't want the peas or the mashed potatoes.
Do you agree with that?
There is something, because you're turning on different taste buds, but you should just be, you should be interested in a variety of different taste bud sensations, right? Including, like, I think I saw some mom that her baby loves sardines of all things. Like
I
in
saw
a
that.
can.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yep.
I was like, that's amazing. That baby
That
is
is
going to town
amazing.
on sardines, which are full of all kinds of
omega-3s.
yes, fatty acids, which are so good for brain development. So just because, and also because you don't like something doesn't mean you should not
of
let your
course.
kid
Yes.
try it. Like, I don't like pickles
So
at all. My kids love it.
What are your feelings on, because and I didn't do this with the first kids, but mind you, my kids span, 25 years. With the younger ones, I really stayed away from baby food and jarred foods. I wasn't one of these crunchy moms that had the time or dedication, God bless them, to puree everything themselves. We kind of did that baby-led weaning. So when I was eating
So nice.
softer
I hate those
things,
moms.
look, to each their own. I just don't have the time or patience for it. If you can grow your own string beans and puree them
more
and
power
preserve
to
them,
you.
that's awesome.
Right.
But I would just make regular canned green beans or whatever, which generally were like salt and water, and I would give them that instead of what was in the jars,
pouches or
because
the jars,
there was all
yeah.
sorts of stuff. And then remember, there was mold in a bunch of them, and I'm like, let me just try it a different way.
Yeah.
And my youngest, it's so funny, he was in feeding therapy since he was 6 months old, couldn't swallow, had to have surgery. It's crazy. He is the best eater, and I think it's because
You exposed him to that.
to everything, and it was
everything.
table food from the start. There was no transition from sweet potatoes to it was like, here's what mommy's eating, and he's such a good eater.
No, I think that's
of,
great.
Of course, you should ask your pediatrician, but since I have one here, I'm just going to ask you, what is the latest on peanuts and peanut butter? Because it changes
know.
like all the time.
I've heard it's
Honestly,
a year for the longest. Has it changed?
Early exposure is better now. So
Really?
even like 4 to 6 months, and we're talking like put a tiny bit on your finger and rub it inside their mouth so that they have like a little exposure to that, so that they can not develop an allergy. So we've actually seen is by avoiding these high allergy prone foods, we're actually not making things better. We're
Is
making
honey
them
the
worse.
same, because it's not an allergy? It's more of what's
No,
in
that's
it.
more concern for like a botulism toxin that could be in honey. So we want to wait on that. Just because you don't necessarily, like, if you get the honey from the farmer's market, you don't know how well that was processed. So that's why we wait for that. So not necessarily allergy, but same thing with strawberries. A lot of times people avoid those because that's another allergy provoking food, but a little exposure, a little bit of time when they're really little is beneficial.
Is there any health practice that you have at your home that you swear by?
I like to lead by example. And I also like to have them involved in the cooking process. Maggie knows this. Like, I think when kids sit there and they cook with you and they bake with you, they're more prone to eat it because they're proud of their work.
Yeah.
And if you have healthy things in your kitchen, they're going to eat them. And I'm one of those hardliners who's like, I'm not going to be a line cook. You're going to eat what I make.
Yes.
And if you don't like it, that's okay. My girls had a kindergarten teacher. They had the same kindergarten teacher who said, you have to try something 7 times before you say, I don't like it. And that stuck with them. I heard it last week.
Really?
Anina, Mrs. Mulick said, oh, sorry, Mrs. Mulick for the
And
shout
that
out.
was way back in kindergarten.
Yes,
Mulick,
that
good
was
habits.
5 years ago.
I
That's
love
amazing.
that, though. That's so
Yeah,
And
good.
they
it
stick
is.
by it. They're like, yeah, I'll try it again because Mrs. Mulick said.
But I don't force my kids to eat the things, because I've got an allergy to everything, but there's certain things, even with an allergy or not, I don't like the taste of. So when I make peas, one of my kids loves peas. I think they're vile little balls of nastiness. But I'll make
I like
them.
that description.
And
It's pretty funny.
When the other one eats it, he's like, I don't like it. And I'm like, let me see you take a bite. Because again, I think if he tries it enough, he'll either get used to it, or
Right.
when he says no, I can go, okay, look, we've done this many times. I know he doesn't like it. I don't like it. I'm never going to like it.
7 times, Steffany.
Yeah. I'm allergic.
You're allergic to those
Mild
what did you call
allergy,
them? Vile,
but I think I called them vile little balls
Anyway.
of nastiness.
Yeah.
My daughter, speaking of allergies, is convinced she's allergic to dye because of the way it affects her poop. So
Oh, funny.
she's like,
You
"It
could tell like
changes
a
my
mommy
poop,
white
Mom.
lie and be like,
I'm
"Yeah,
allergic."
You're allergic.
And
My
I go
20
with it. I'm like, you're right.
My
You're allergic.
25-year-old saw me go into anaphylactic shock when she was probably 3 or 4 from peanuts. I wasn't allergic to peanuts until I had her. And then all of a sudden, I've got all these new allergies after I had her. And to this day, she thinks she's got in her brain that she has some sort of allergy to peanuts, but only peanuts. So if you give her creamy peanut butter, it's fine because there's no peanuts in it.
And that's just because she saw you have the reaction.
Because she saw me swell up,
And she's here. I'm looking at her.
Yeah, she's here.
thing.
But she still will eat creamy peanut butter, but not crunchy.
That's so funny.
Interesting.
I love that.
Has this happened to every parent? Your kid gets that rainbow ice cream, and the next day the poop is
Oh my gosh.
Oh God,
I know.
all kinds of
So
colors.
I got a funny story with it. So there's a cute little shop, ice cream shop by our house that has Cookie Monster ice cream. It's
Yes,
bright
that's what it's called.
blue.
Yes,
Yes, it's
yes,
Cookie
that's the
Monster.
one actually.
Yep. And my daughter got like a double scoop as a reward, goes home. The next day she's crying. She's like, something's wrong with me.
dying.
It's neon. And I'm looking at her like, oh my gosh. So the next time we went back there, she goes to get the Cookie Monster. I was like, don't forget what happened last time. And the guy looks and he's like, it was the poop, wasn't it? And I'm like, you know this and you don't warn us as we're eating. He's like, no. I'm like, yeah, get something else. Don't get the Cookie Monster
It got
ever
to
again.
where my child thought it was cool, like ate it so that the
For
poop,
the poop.
could be
Oh, that's
blue.
Kids are
so
great.
funny.
Yeah.
I mean, when they want to test if you're having like poop issues for the
Right.
flow, they'll still eat something like bright
Yes.
blue to
You
see
can
how
see
long
how
it
long.
takes
Uh-huh.
to come through the system.
You know, hers
So
was less than
funny.
24 hours, and she at first was terrified. She's like, something is wrong. There's like, it was
There it is.
bright
They're all
green. It
allergic.
was terrifying.
Per my
Yeah,
daughter.
let's go with that. All right, so it's important what they eat. It's also important that they are active.
Oh yeah.
So I wanted to ask you about that. How much daily activity? Is there a number?
I
Is
would shoot
the
for
best
60 minutes.
Every day for
every
your
day.
children?
Even for kids. But let's not think of
Every
it as like
day.
going for a run and working out. Active for them is playing outside or going to the playground. It could be even if you have a kid who loves video games, it's like that dance game where they're moving their body and they're
We got
being
that next
active.
playground where your body is the controller. So the whole thing is like you can play Hungry Hippos and you have to use your hands. And
Yeah.
it's such great sneaky exercise for them.
Love that word for it. Sneaky exercise, because you can really sneak it in different
Yeah.
places. So, and it doesn't have to be consistent 60-minute stretch. It could be 5 minutes here, or you're dancing in the kitchen and that's another 5 minutes. It can be little things like that.
Cumulative. You have that exercise pedal thing under your desk.
Yeah.
The
Do you
other-
use it?
Take that home.
Do I use it, Maggie?
She uses it.
Hey,
Yeah.
girl.
I love that thing.
Yeah. Take
I
it
like
home, and
that.
if your girls are doing homework, maybe they can pedal.
Oh no, they are active.
They are
I mean,
active?
besides recess, the kids still have recess at your school. They have recess. They
There's
play
PE at your
outside
school.
or PE. Yeah, they're active. They're doing sports. So I'm making
What
them
if
do
your
the things.
kid isn't into extracurricular sports? You don't have the sporty kid, and you worry that they're not that they're too
question.
sedentary.
I think that's a nice place where if you had a dog or you could have a pet and that's just one of the chores is helping walk the animal, and set, okay, you need to take him for a 30-minute walk or 15 minutes.
Yeah, but I mean, you can only do that at a certain age too. So how do you sneak
could
it in when they're too
start it-
young to be taking the dog for a walk?
If they're too young, then it's really like you can create challenges with them. Okay, well, mommy's going to do 25 jumping jacks. Do you want to do
Oh
jumping
God, now
jacks
you're
with
trying to
me?
make me exercise?
They
Yes.
do model our behavior,
Yes,
right?
we do.
So
Yes.
my son will be like, Mom, you haven't worked out in a while.
Mine do not
Let's do
because
some
I am lazy and my kids are great with it. My daughter is a gymnast that does 20 hours of gym minimum every single week. My son has 5 days of soccer that he loves. My other one, we're still finding his thing. Like we've tried soccer, we've tried baseball. Like we were trying stuff. Me, it's like I've got my yoga when I can find time lately. But yeah, I'm anti-exercise.
Okay,
I'm so
we'll
horrible.
have
and
them
I
run
know
the
that's
vacuum.
bad.
Vacuuming,
Ooh, that's good.
is a
Chore.
good
Child
exercise.
labor is
Ooh,
great
I
exercise.
like that.
Child labor.
Wait a minute. I perked up. Say that again. What else?
and
Cleaning the toilet? Does
sweeping,
that
you know,
count?
it counts.
Cleaning the
Pointing
toilet?
at my daughter. You're going to get some good
Yeah.
exercise at home, doctor said.
Yeah,
I think though
chores.
it's really try as a family to do things together, because I envy my cousin and her family. She raised those kids bike riding every weekend.
Yeah.
Like they're always out and about, and those kids love the outdoors, which is so much healthier than the indoors. And they're always so, I mean, I haven't always modeled that family, but it's goals for sure.
Yeah, but you're active
Absolutely.
and healthy and work out.
I do. We work out every day, but not with the kids. Mike and I go in the
But they know. But
early
they know
morning.
you do.
But, yeah.
And I think knowing too, like, hey, my mom's healthy, and these are the things she
But I
does to
do worry
maintain
that now that my son isn't playing a sport regularly, how am I going to make sure that he doesn't, fall behind in the activity? So it's been a legitimate concern of mine.
We'll do occasionally we'll do like family tennis, and even I've just got into tennis, and my husband's really good. And my son, I don't know, he's a natural athlete, he's good at everything. But we'll go and hit balls together for 30 minutes, or for the dog walk, like we'll walk together. We live near the city in St. Pete, so we walk downtown a lot. So we'll do like family mile walks one way and then back. That's just something we've kind of built in to our lifestyle. And then one other tip for some kids is those getting the Fitbit or the step counters. I think that's really important
fun
because
way
they can kind of challenge themselves, and even little ones will look at that and it celebrates their activity, which is good.
That's a great tip.
My daughter's very active, but she found this little. Tried to get me to do it, and again, I'm lazy. But it's like this app where you have to do different self-care items, and one is like take a walk and do this, and it feeds like this bird, and the bird gets happy. It's almost like a Tamagotchi for health. I don't know what it's called.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, so it was as active as she is. It was encouraging her to like journal and then take a walk outside and do these great things so she could feed this stupid bird. I'm like, it can just die.
We talked about how bad food, they target kids in a bad way. Thank you for targeting kids in a good way.
I agree.
Yes. It was a cute app. It just wasn't for me.
We'll find it.
I love
Send
that.
it to me.
Because you know what? My main thing is I just don't want you inside glued to that phone.
But that's
and
why
we
I
have
did
time limits on the phone. But one of the words of the year last year was brain rot, right?
But that's
what
why I
social
opted
media
out of
leads to.
homework.
Yes.
Because I opt out of homework for my kids unless they aren't doing their assignments in class or they actually need help. So if my kid is making good grades, he understands the concepts, I do not have them do homework, because when they get home, even if he's being active at soccer, he needs time to just have free play and exploration outside, riding a bike, falling out of a tree, and doing the things that I used to do and we take for granted now because kids just simply don't do them. So part of the reason we opt out of homework is it cuts out family time and their time to have free exploration and exercise, because like you said, sometimes that exercise just comes in from being outside riding a bike or playing in the neighborhood. And I'm sorry, but if they're not learning what they need to learn, that's different. But if they're grasping stuff at school, I'm not making them do school at home.
So people might be listening and going, you can opt out of homework?
I was just thinking that. Did
Is
you
that
sign
something?
a form?
Yeah.
No, it was a discussion I had. I don't make it super known with every kid in the class because I don't want every parent harassing the teacher the same way. But I've had teachers actually go, thank you, I appreciate it. Like, it actually makes my life easier. I do it because if I don't, people go, why aren't you sending him homework? I've had teachers go, well, I really need him to do this. I said, well, when he's falling behind or he's not doing the work, you let me know. We have that discussion. I'll make sure he's doing whatever he needs to at home to keep up. So far, only one of my kids really has to do homework. He's a little bit behind, and there's underlying reasons with that. But even with the homework she sends home, I go through and I kind of filter like, okay, this will be beneficial. This is over his head. Here's the building blocks we need. It's a conversation you have with the individual teacher. But in high school, we don't do it. In middle school, I let my kid decide. And honestly, all of them have naturally decided to do homework on their own in middle school. And in high school, they have no issues. So I don't even see it having, long-term
They
impact.
certainly don't make it known that it's optional,
I don't
because
think
so
it
many
always
of the
is,
grades,
but
so
just-
many of the grades are homework grades. Like, it
Yeah, it's
factors
confusing.
into
No,
a big
it really
chunk of your
doesn't.
grade. In our school,
is. It
does.
ours
Yeah,
too.
ours.
They get a
It's
grade.
at our elementary school. No, it's not been an issue. And maybe it's not an issue and not being factored in because I have that discussion at open house privately going, listen, here's, we've got a large family. We've only got so many computers and we only have so many hours in the day. Like, we really try to focus on the time between work and when the kids get off of school and bedtime on quality time for the family and allowing them to be kids.
I love that.
And again, I've not had a single teacher not being accepting, supportive, and even sometimes thankful and grateful for it.
Our school's contingent on
It is,
it.
right?
Yeah, it's required.
Yeah.
Yeah, some schools are just like that. But it was my choice to do that.
Right.
I have kids who I think can handle it, but
We just don't have time. And
I'm so for what you're doing.
They're doing Myon, right? Well, I've got my laptop. My husband has his. My daughter has hers. We're all working on it. So we have one desktop and one extra laptop. But we still have all these other kids left. So now they're fighting over who's going to get the computer to do this reading assignment at home on the computer. And now they're in front of a screen when rather than be outside playing, and they're fighting over who's going to. So it's for us, especially with our situation,
Yeah.
it's just
It
easy to
works
say
for you.
no,
And,
we're
I
opting
love
and
it.
out.
I like
amazing
it.
that the school's allowing it.
I like
Yeah,
it.
I don't know even if the school's aware, but the teachers, like I said, I haven't
teachers
had any blowback,
individually.
and we've had teachers that actually have modeled it and continued going. I'm gonna do less, or I'm gonna do one packet on this day, or so it's
Or
worked
they
really
could
well
suggest
for
it
us.
for another family.
Yeah.
Might work for them.
So
All right, now you know, everyone. How much time do we have, Deanna?
4 minutes.
Oh my
Okay,
goodness.
4 minutes. So we have to wrap up the health topic because I want to get this in. I always end with a question that we all have to answer unrelated to the topic. You all know the expression, do as I do, not as I say. Give me an example
No,
of
do
that.
as I say, not as I do.
Sorry. That's just my philosophy at my house. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, do as I say, not as I do. I got it right?
Yes.
Yes. In other words, you have an expectation of your kid that you don't hold yourself to. Give me an example.
I'm always first, I know. Screen time. I'm like, don't be on the screen so much.
Oh,
But my screen is a
yeah.
TV. It's how I decompress. I'm a pop culture junkie. I love and I'm always like, I need to dial that back a little bit so I'm a better example. But here I am, like,
On it. Mm-hmm.
Do they know and do they see you?
of course, because it's a
Same.
common room. So they see me like plop my butt on the recliner and watch
Yeah.
some TV.
Yep.
But I'll do better.
Okay.
Mine
hard
technically
one.
is still kind of related to health. I am a Diet Coke addict. I drink
Oh my gosh. I quit cold turkey.
multiple big gulps a day, gallons of it. I'm ridiculous. And I really try not to let my kids have any soda unless it's like a special occasion. Like, and then I limit it.
Jennifer, can you talk to her about Diet Coke, please?
I know. You're not going to say, look, I don't
It's the
smoke. I don't
McDonald's,
right?
drink.
So
That's my McDonald's.
bad.
This is
Our
my
intervention for
McDonald's.
you. You did it to me.
It's my McDonald's.
Throwing it right back
So
in your face.
we'll go to McDonald's and you can get your cheeseburger and I'll get a big Diet Coke together. And
I
we'll have
quit
our
Diet
crutches.
Coke cold turkey, and Steffany, I never, ever, 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 ever thought that was possible for
I've
me.
quit it 3 or 4
girl.
times.
It's
3
been
or 4 times, and for
years.
extended periods of time. But then I'm at a party or someplace, and it's almost like that alcoholic mentality. It's there, and it's like, well, what? How bad is one? And then I have one. I'm like, let me just get a drink on the way
Again,
home.
everything in moderation.
Yeah,
I would
I have no
rather have.
moderation
I'm a
with
Pepsi
it.
person. I would rather have a
Oh.
Pepsi than have alcohol. That's my thing. Like, I
Wow.
don't
Once
need
in a
alcohol,
while.
but give me a
Oh my
Pepsi on the
goodness.
weekends. That's my vice.
But I just can't moderate it. I mean, like I ran out of Diet Coke today, and I was freaking out.
You and Bill Clinton. All right, your turn.
Honestly, I think the screens
It's for everybody, right?
It's
We
for
all do
everybody.
that.
It is. I agree completely. And we've all got to dial that back.
But here's the thing, and I know that it's hard. We could say whatever we want, but if they then see us do the
know.
thing,
Yep.
they're not.
They remember.
They're going to learn that
Learn
they don't really
behaviors.
have to listen to what you're telling
I
them. It's such a battle.
And they'll call you out.
Oh yeah,
And they'll
my
call
children.
you out, which I appreciate. I do
I
appreciate.
do too. It's accountability, right? Even from your 12-year-old.
sometimes
Yeah.
I'm like, shut up and mind your business.
Yeah.
mommy needs me time.
and sometimes it's because I'm the parent.
Yeah, it's like
Exactly.
and I'm, when
you don't get a body like this saying no to Diet Coke. Mind your business.
and it's like I could go and get my hair done professionally because I make the money.
make the money.
Yeah.
And I can get my
Exactly.
highlights because I make the money and
Now
I
come
can
in
pay
here and
for
let me
it.
give you a bowl
Yeah.
cut.
Yeah.
Yeah, did your mom do that to you when you were growing up? And do you do that to your kids?
She did a high top fade.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I just know low taper fade because that's the new thing
Oh, yeah,
for the
but,
boys.
yeah.
I don't know what that means.
I have cut my kids' hair, but I'm not bad at it. But yeah, I don't do it all the time, especially the boys. They need a barber.
So are we saying we're because I said so parents then?
oh yes,
I try not to be, but when it
try
comes
not
to my kryptonite, which is the phone,
Yeah.
it depends on what it is. But
Yes.
yeah, I absolutely will be a nice so
Yes.
parent.
I know. The
All
phone.
right.
All right.
So we
We're
have
all
to do
working on
better.
that. Yep.
we have to eat better,
Yes. Move more.
move
Less
more,
screen time.
reduce our screen time.
Read
There you have
labels.
it. It's goals, and you know what? We a little at a time. We do our best.
I agree.
All right, ladies, love you. Thank you for being
so
here.
much. So
All right.
fun.
Did you like it? This is
Loved
our first
it.
one. Loved it. It's great, right?
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.